How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the workshop. I hope you're all doing well. Now, I have a great simple little project for you guys made from some reclaimed old scrap bits of timber. So it's all made from 4x2 or 2x4, just waste stuff that was going to be firewood. So I've built some little two-seater benches for the garden, some lovers benches as they're called. Super simple build. Anybody can do this over a weekend. Very, very few tools required, and you can build yourself some lovely little benches indeed. So we've three designs. We have a backrest and armrests. We have one with just a backrest, and we have a simple bench. So it's easy, easier, and easiest. And I will show you how to build all three in this video. So we're going to crack on. Now, if you guys could give me a big favor, 70% of the people who watch my channel aren't subscribed, so if you could please hit that subscribe button. For everybody else, if you could leave a comment and a like, that will really help me out with the algorithm and help boost this video. So without further ado, guys, let's crack on and build ourselves three little lovers benches for the garden. Let's do it. Okay, guys, let's get cracking. Let's get stuck into this pile of 4x2s, 2x4s. We'll build the easiest one first. Let's do it. 3 cuts at 1 meter or 39 3/8 inches. Okay, next we have 8 pieces to cut at 360 millimeters or just over 14 inches. Let's do that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is take our 4 pieces that we've cut at 360 millimeters or just over 14 inches, screw them together in a square frame just like that. This could not be simpler. So I'm just going to pre-drill my pieces and then I'm going to drive my screws in. Make sure we line up everything. Keep everything nice and square. Just drive that home. Okay, now that we got our square sections made, throw them down on the floor. And our ones that we cut at 1 meter, you're just going to go straight across the top, just like so. This could not be simpler. And when this is all painted up, it'll be a grand little bench. And literally, it takes 10 minutes to put together. Slightly longer if you're trying to make a video, of course. Let's get some screws in this. Okay guys, there we go. One extremely simple garden bench made from scrap offcuts of 4x2. It's grand and sturdy. You don't need any brace pieces in this. It's not going to rack. It's not big enough to rack, so you don't have to worry about that. It's perfectly stable as it is. A little bit of sanding and a paint up and it'll be a grand little bench for the garden. Super simple to make. Again, a handsaw, a drill, a few screws, and Bob's your uncle. There you go. Now, I hear you say, but John, I prefer my benches with a backrest. Well, no problem. Let's make one with a backrest. Let's do it. Okay, guys. To build one with a backrest, we just repeat the exact same process again, except I leave this 95 millimeters longer. Now, my boards are fairly twisted. These have been in the workshop for a long time. They're pretty old, so I will replace these ones, but just for demonstration purposes and to show you guys how to do it, I'm going to use this material. So then we take another piece and we put a 15-degree cut in the end of it. You just sit that 15-degree cut on the floor, just like that. Let it rest against your last board. You're going to fix that into here and into the bottom. Cut it at 400 millimeters, so that's 360, which is the width of our front seat board to our back seat board, plus 40 millimeters. So the gap between my boards is 40 mil. I'm going to leave a 40 mil gap here and then space them out exactly the same as the seat, just to match the seat. So that gives me a total height here from this board of 400 millimeters. That's a 15-degree cut right there. Screw that together and then to screw on our boards. So without further ado, let's do that. Okay guys, to screw on the back boards, I've just cut myself 2 40mm spacers. I can sit that down on that then I can just screw that in and move my spacers up and so on and so forth. And that should all work out pretty nicely. And I can just eyeball that from the top here, make sure that we're fairly lined up, and that's pretty good. So screw these home, let's get them on. Okay guys, there we go. One very simple bench with a nice backrest. Super simple, super strong. A good sand up and a nice paint. Put it out in the garden and literally, again, a half an hour to whip this together. Get some nice straight pieces of 4x2, 2x4. Like I said, mine are slightly twisted, so it's throwing it off slightly. I will straighten those ones out. But as for demonstration purposes, you can see how this now goes together. So a super simple build, and great for beginners, these projects. And you will have lovely seats out in your garden once they're painted up. Now, I hear you say, but I want one with armrests. Well, okay, let's do one with a backrest and armrests. And there's room on my seat for 2. Let's do it. Okay guys, we are on to the third bench. Now, this one's a little bit different, but not much. There's not a whole lot to this either. So we are doing L-shaped leg brackets for the legs. So I have done this in maybe 1 or 2 projects you guys might remember. So yeah, this is nothing new if you've been a long time viewer of my channel. So I have cut, I have cut 8 pieces at 650mm, or exactly 25½ inches. Now, this camera follows me around. Hopefully it's not making you guys motion sick or anything like that. So all we gotta do is take our 2 pieces, put them together like that, form that L shape and screw them together. Now, I have most of these done already, so it's just a case of put 3 screws in this one. So 3 screws just in it like that. That gives us our L shape, and that's going to make our frame for this. Now, I have already made the other side. So what I'm going to do now is screw in this piece, and this is what's going to take our seat section. So that is 450mm to the top of this. So the same as our last bench. And that is 17¾ inches roughly. So I'm going to do that again on this side, and the length of this piece is the same as our last bench we just made, which should be 460mm, which is just over 18 inches. So I'll get on and screw this together now when we start putting this bench together. This will all make sense very shortly. Just like that. Right guys, there is how our frame sits on the ground, just like that. And we're going to take our meter-long pieces again, and they're going to form up the internal part of our bench. So I will screw them on there, just like that, just like our last bench. And we're leaving this little bit right here again for our 15° angle piece, which won't go to the ground this time, but will stop on this cross piece here. So that will be angled up at a 15° angle here, and this will be our armrest section. So I've cut 2 armrests, And I've just put a little 45-degree detail on the end of them. So I've actually cut them too short. They are supposed to overhang the front, so I have to go back and cut them again. Measure once, cut 5 times. Is that what they say? Or is it measure twice, cut once? Obviously, I did not do that there. So let me cut them again and we'll assemble this bench. If you haven't made anything, you know, you've never made a mistake, you've never made anything, as they say. Okay guys, I have the bench screwed on, I have the properly cut armrests this time screwed on, and I have my 2 pieces cut with that 15-degree angle. So again, they're the same height as the ones we made for the last bench. I've just measured from my cross stretcher here up to where I need the top of this to be. That's allowing for the space for those 3 boards again, if we're going to use 3 boards. I've just clamped them in place. Now there's a little detail here that I want to show you, because I have to put a packer in here in order to keep these straight. So I'll get you a close up at that and I'll show you that. And I've also just spent the last half an hour as well looking for my measuring tape. You guys can probably see it now, but I have no idea where I left it. Measuring tapes. I'm convinced the fairies take them. Hey guys, hopefully you can see there. So I have a slight gap here. Used to be the case, I thought, that 4x2s were twice the width of their thickness, so that when you put 2 of them together, they're the exact width. If you get what I'm saying. Any carpenter friends watching this now, let me know. When you put 2 2x4s together, should that not be exactly the width of the 2x4? Well, in this case, it isn't anyway. So I've just cut a packer to bring it out flush with our upright, so that I can drive my screws in and keep everything nice and straight and stop anything from twisting. And I'm just going to make sure this 15-degree angle cut I have here runs perfectly flush with this guy here, and that it sits right in against the back of our last seat board. And then it's just a case of screw all this in place. So we'll be able to fix it here, we'll be able to fix it into the upright, add into our armrest as well. And that will be good and strong when we get our backboards on. So I'll crack on and do that now. Okay guys, there we go. Back bench and armrests. Now this one is by far and away the sturdiest of all 3. Now they're all good and strong. They will last for years, but this one is the heaviest and the most robust. It's probably the design that I like the most. Again, it's a lovely, just a little 2-seater with some nice armrests. You know, you could sit down, read a book, leave your cup of coffee on the armrest if you wanted. If you wanted a bit more room, you didn't want armrests, you have that one, and then the very basic one. So easy, easier, easiest. Now, I'm going to sand all these up and I'm going to paint them 3 different colours, and you guys shall see the finished product. We'll turn them from just basic screwed together 4x2 benches into something pretty for the garden. I have lots of work ahead of me, so I will crack on and do that. Now, they're starting to look quite nice indeed. Now, I know some of you guys will be asking me what paint I'm using. So this is Ron Seal garden paint. Now, not sponsored, we're not getting paid. Just you always get asked in the comments what paint I'm actually using. Well, that's what I'm using on this stuff. Okay guys, there we go. All sanded up, all painted up, some lovely colours, and we now have 3 lovely little lovers benches for the garden. So an easy, easier and easiest, all made from scrap wood, some reclaimed timber that was basically firewood. Super simple design, so that any of you guys can build this with simple tools over the weekend. Now, it has started lashing rain, the heavens have opened, so I can't get pictures of these out in the garden, unfortunately, but I will share updates of these in the garden on TikTok and on Instagram, so definitely come follow me there too. So that's it guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the build as always, and don't forget to like the video, please leave a comment, and if you're new here, please subscribe, that really helps me out a lot. So yeah, until the next project guys, hopefully you will enjoy building your lovers benches. I'll see you then.